Today I have a pay-per-view to get through. Last week, in the last show that we had, I told you I'd be trying to do a UFC show for my next one. Well, that obviously fell through as I could not get a colleague to come in and help me and analyze the show. So instead, last night, I got SummerSlam, and I'm going to analyze this one on my own. And that's pretty much the entire show here. I'm going to give you a rundown of every single match, what I thought of it, and I'm going to rank it out of stars, give it a grade, so to speak. So that's pretty much the only major topic that we have for today's show. I'll get to UFC just a little bit, but today is pretty much dominated by SummerSlam 2008. So let's get underway. Last night was another installment of SummerSlam, and the pay-per-view card was not as stacked as it should have been for a huge, for one of their big pay-per-views, so to speak. It should have been, bigger matches, more titles should have been on the line. Overall, the show really did not give you anything to really sell. They really didn't sell you too much, besides on the Hell in a Cell. And, the starting off match. Well, let's get past SummerSlams first. Past SummerSlams, we've seen two Undertakers face off. We've seen incredible ladder matches between Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon there. We saw one about 10 years ago between The Rock and Triple H. We've seen Stone Cold matches at SummerSlam. We've seen pretty good SummerSlams over the past 20 years, over the past 2 decades. But last night was one of their weaker ones, and you'd think now, 2 decades later, that Vince McMahon would have a top-of-the-line SummerSlam. But instead, it turned out to be pretty awful. And I think it's going to rank as one of the worst 5 SummerSlams out of all 20, or however many there has been. And I'm going to give you reasons why on every single match here. The opening card of the match, the opening night, was Jeff Hardy versus MVP. MVP is a great talent, I think, coming up. And Jeff Hardy is, that guy that's taking a couple swings and misses, but he's still a great talent out there. And I thought this would make for a very entertaining match. But instead, I was caught right in the middle. Nothing too exciting. They didn't have any chemistry down, it seemed. They had nothing going. You may have a different opinion, but my opinion is that the match pretty much sucked. Or didn't really suck. Wasn't as good as I thought it should have been. And there was nothing too extravagant about it, and didn't really give you or pump you up for the rest of the pay-per-view as most opening matches should. This one kind of bore you to sleep, in my opinion. So out of 5 stars, I gave it a 3, right in the middle, because I think it could have gone either way. One more falls, one more bad, a couple of minutes more of boredom, and I think the match would have been a 2 or a 1. And maybe a couple of exciting parts, maybe a little less time, a little more fast-paced. The match may have been a 4 or a 5. Probably a 4. Maybe still even a 3. But it was not as good as I thought it should have been, and it really didn't go either way definitively, so I put it right in the middle. It was a 3. Then we had the intergender match for the women's title and Intercontinental belt. Mike Adamle is doing these new Adamle original things. And his original idea was that they have an intergender match, women's title, Intercontinental title, and whatever team won, the woman would get the women's belt, obviously, and the man would get the Intercontinental title. Well, we had Santino Marella and Beth Phoenix taking on Mickie James, the women's champion, and Kofi Kingston, the Intercontinental champion. Kofi Kingston, I like the guy to death right now. He's a really up-and-coming star. I see heavyweight championship material written all over him. I see him being a big flag bearer for the WWE in the future someday, because of all the talent that this guy actually does possess. But I thought that his talent could have done something good with the match, but again, it's Santino Marella, and he's pretty much a goofball. So, it kind of didn't fill in for a good tag team match like it should have. Beth Phoenix and Mickie James, 2 of the great women wrestlers out there today. Women that, still have beautiful bodies and beautiful faces, but they just don't rely on that to get ahead in the business. They actually have good wrestling psychology and good wrestling moves and overall a good, talent. But even with that, the match came out and it sucked to me. Nothing exciting out of this one. Again, another reason why SummerSlam this year pretty much sucked, because nothing too much was happening out of this match, and you had Beth Phoenix beat Mickie James to get the women's belt and the Intercontinental title for Santino. And, you know, with that, I gave the match 2 stars out of 5. So, yeah, it's pretty much in the sucky range. Don't worry, there's another thing that gets worse on here. Don't worry, there's another one that gets worse. You think I'm bad now, you wait till you hear one of these matches stars in a little bit here. And then we had Shawn Michaels announcement. I pictured Shawn Michaels doing the thing that he normally does, and that is he'll come out, act all, you know, sad and, you know, what have you, and then he'll just pop up and he'll say something, and the fans will be on their feet. Ooh, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho still going on. It'll be on Unforgiven. I thought that's what the announcement would have been, but instead, Shawn Michaels actually did come out and say that he was retiring, and he brought his wife, Rebecca, with him. And Chris Jericho came out and interrupted it, and it makes you realize now that this is still a work. You know, people, I don't know if they really want to try making this a shoot angle out of this or whatnot, but if they were trying to make a shoot out of it, it really didn't work because Chris Jericho came out again. And, you know, they had a pretty intense face-to-face promo, one of the better promos I've seen in a little while. This feud, you know, it's picking up fire after I've been thinking for a little while it's been stale. Just for a bit, I think it's been stale. But, no, it actually came off pretty good last night, and it ended with Jericho going for a punch on Shawn Michaels, and Shawn ducked,